Hi everyone, I'm Seni and welcome to today's video, which is all about student living on a budget. Being at uni can be super expensive, but there are plenty of little hacks and small changes that you can do to make your student lifestyle a lot cheaper and to stretch your money further. In this video, you'll be hearing from me, Lolly, and Chris. Each of us will be covering a different area of student budgeting, from money management to discount and deals. So let's get into it. So one of the biggest parts of student life is to figure out how to actually manage your money. And while it might sound boring, once you have a system in place that works for you, it can actually be a lot easier than you anticipate. And you can definitely get to enjoy your money a lot more. Tip 1. Track where your money goes. The first thing I'd say is track your spending for a week, every coffee, every Uber, every app subscription that you decide to get, and you'll be so surprised how the little things tend to add up. Once you can see where your money goes, you can make changes a lot more easily. Tip 2, use a very simple system. You don't have to overcomplicate things. My favorite way to budget is just keep it very simple. People use the 50-30-20 rule, which is basically 2% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for your savings. Now, obviously, you can arrange this however you want to, depending on how much money you might get a month. Also, you can do your best to try and arrange this around if you get student finance. So when my student finance drops, the first thing I do is set aside all the money that I'll be needing for the next 3 months for bills and rent. So that way I won't accidentally dip into it and then end up spending a lot more than I was supposed to. So use an app like Monzo or Emma that automatically tracks anything you spend, and it can also help you look at your spending a lot more easily. Some banking apps already do this for you. I have an account with Chase and Santander, and they give me monthly insights on what I've been spending on, so I can also look at that. Tip 3 is to plan weekly and not monthly. Budgeting monthly can definitely be super overwhelming because how are you supposed to know everything that's going to go on within a month? So I like to break it down to something a lot more simple, which is weekly budgeting. For example, I can aim to give myself £30 for food and £20 for leisure. This is way easier to keep track of than a monthly number because if you underspend for 1 week, it could just roll over onto the next week on whatever you want to spend it on. Tip 4 is sleeping on a purchase before I decide. Now, I am a shopaholic. I love to buy new things for myself. I love to treat myself. And most of the time, I'm on apps like Vinted and eBay and Depop shopping. So it can become really easy to just see something I like and want to buy it. But I've come up with a solution for that, and that is to simply just sleep on the decision. If I see something I really like and it's not something that I can just splash my money on, then I would definitely sleep on the decision. I will see if I'm thinking about it in a day or two. If it hasn't left my mind, then that's my sign to get it. Thing that I need to be reminded of, then I probably don't want it as much as I think I do. Budgeting can definitely sound very daunting and like a chore, but it's really just all about giving yourself freedom and control. Instead of stressing about money, you can allow yourself to have so much more management on what you spend on, and you'll definitely be thanking yourself at the end of the week and at the end of the month. Now that's the money management side covered. When it comes to utilizing your budget in the best way, that's where discounts and deals will come in.
My biggest hack for saving money as a student is obviously student discount. Now, there are a bunch of apps that do this specifically, things like UniDays, Totem, Student Beans, which work by linking your University of Essex email to their account so they can verify you're a student. So the moment you have your email address from Essex, you can already start saving. The apps are amazing, but don't forget that your student discount will also work in a lot of shops on the high street that aren't linked on the apps. For example, shops like Superdrug and Heavenly Desserts offer student discounts, but they don't necessarily put them on the apps. You can go in and just ask for a student discount and they will give you one. Most shops will have something on their website as to whether they offer a student discount or not. And to find this, it can be as simple as typing in shop name, student discount, where it will give you a link or a code or something to show you how to get your student discount on your orders. For in-person shops, don't be afraid to just ask if they do student discount, even if you don't see it offered anywhere. The worst they can say is no, and the best they can do is give you money off your shop. And so my overall piece of advice is just ask. Most stores will do a student discount, which can get you money off your shop, saving all those pennies that we certainly need to be saving as a student. Biggest hack for student discount, however, is don't be afraid of secondhand. Online stores like Vinted, eBay, and Facebook Marketplace will show you secondhand wares that you can buy for a lot cheaper, but they won't have decayed in quality. This means that you're getting stuff in perfect working order, but for a fraction of the price, which is huge when you're a student. Colchester is also home to a ton of amazing vintage stores and charity shops. These places usually sell clothes, and that's, I think, how we all think about charity shops, but don't be afraid to look at their back wall, which usually will have appliances and mugs and other crockery and accessories and jewelry and shoes, because you can get some absolutely outstanding deals on some amazing stuff that you probably wouldn't have thought of elsewhere. As well as your shopping and your transport, a lot of the entertainment that you probably already use at home will have a student version. If you're a music listener like I am, Spotify offers a student premium discount, meaning that you get all of the benefits of premium, but for a lot cheaper than you would if you were just paying for a regular subscription. Where before I advised you to search up shop name student discount, you can do this with pretty much any service that you get. Amazon Prime, for example, also has a student discount, which not only gives you money off of your Amazon Prime shopping subscription, but also Amazon Video. So there's another way to watch movies and TV shows through that. You can also look out for student tickets in cinemas. Often, cinemas will offer a cheaper rate for students, perhaps even cheaper prices on their snacks and their drinks. Or you can wait for a film to come to our lovely, wonderful on-campus cinema.
Okay, so first I want to draw your attention to the sort of Tupperware, which is not really food, is it? But I'm going to talk about meal prep. So I usually do a big food shop once a week, big food shop. And what that means is that I'll go through all my cupboards, I'll see what I already have loads of, and then I'll plan meals around that, which means that food doesn't get wasted and I'm also saving money. These containers are important because I don't only just make food for one sitting and I have one meal out of it. No, I make sure that I have at least 5 or even more sometimes portions out of it. Then I portion it up into individual sort of plate sizes what I'd have in one go. And then I freeze them and I date them. And that way I can have it even throughout the month. It just means I get to have loads of food and it saves money. And also buying in bulk saves money. So just putting it out there. And it also means that sometimes when I am feeling lazy, I've already got food in the freezer. So it's fine. Next up, I want to talk about getting the sort of shop own brand compared to like a branded version. Because realistically, you are paying for the brand. And even though sometimes a specific brand might taste nicer in the long run, if you need to save money, it's always better to just buy the shop own brand. And it's still going to be nice. Another sort of random top tip maybe is that a lot of people think about storing their breads in freezers. Listen, if you're going to buy a lot of bread, maybe if it's on sale, got the little yellow sticker because it's going out of date, lob it in the freezer. It's going to last you ages. And then every time you need to use it, just defrost it in a toaster or an oven. When I didn't have a toaster, I just used an oven and it worked perfectly fine. Next up, I want to talk about pre-made food. Whilst it is convenient, it does cost a lot more money. So there's not really a point to it. So you might as well buy rice that's not been cooked yet or chicken that's not been sliced up yet because you are going to save a lot of money, especially in the long run. Also, bulk up your meals with vegetables and sometimes even substitute meat with vegetarian options like lentils or chickpeas because sometimes meat's just expensive. Obviously, you need your protein, so make sure you still hit that, but there are cheaper alternatives that you can still use. Also, tofu. So I did manage to complete my Tesco shop and I didn't even show you any of it, but I managed to get it done. Some last things before I kind of go. You know, whatever shop you shop at, they typically now have kind of like Tesco has a club card. So sometimes I use that as inspiration to make my meals. When you do meal prep, the way I sort of did it was I'd cook it like a meat, but I'd make it in a way that I could reuse it in different situations, if that makes sense. So, for example, I cooked a whole bunch of mince, and from that I was able to kind of repurpose it into a bolognese and kind of like a chili con carne situation that I could have with rice, and then also make it into a thing that I could have with jacket potatoes. Like, I just made sure that I wouldn't get sick of it because I was able to have it with different things when I did eventually reheat it from the freezer. And just plan. And also don't shop hungry. You're going to buy the stupidest things when you shop hungry. So just make sure you fill yourself up with something before you go. But I think that's it really. This really does add up and help if you do this. You'll notice the difference. Even though it might feel small at first, eventually it does add up. But yeah, hopefully that was really helpful.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video was super helpful. The main thing to remember is that budgeting doesn't have to be restrictive. It doesn't have to put your life on a pause. It doesn't have to mean that you don't get to have the little treats in life. So thank you so much for watching and see you next time.